Welcome back to another video. Make yourself comfortable. I don't want this to be a long one, but we do have a lot to get through. So grab yourself a drink and we're just going to talk all things handbags. I wanted to discuss my handbag journey over the past couple of years, what I have learnt from buying vintage designer handbags. And then I also have a little bit of a Q&A as well, because I asked you guys over on my Instagram and on my YouTube community page if you had any particular questions that you wanted to ask me in the realm of handbags. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it, and I'm going to start off with the Q&A first because I feel like it's a really great way to get the ball rolling and I don't really want to double up on information. So the first question I received is, do you make offers lower than the asking price on eBay or Poshmark? 100%. If you ever have an option to make an offer, make sure you do, because 9 times out of 10 they will accept the offer. And I think that is mainly because selling things pre-loved is difficult as it is. There is not a lot of people who are willing to buy especially designer items just online off someone, because there's always worries about authenticity, especially when it comes to vintage designer items. There's not a lot of people who may be interested in vintage pieces. So I feel like as a seller, they're not getting a lot of interest. So when someone is interested, they're generally willing to lower their price. So as a buyer of pre-loved designer items or pre-loved vintage items, I feel like we have a huge advantage because there just aren't a lot of us. And I know there are a lot of us, but just in the scheme of things and online shopping, there's a very small pool of people who are willing to buy pre-loved designer items. That is definitely changing. Every year there are more and more people that are willing to buy pre-loved items online and vintage designer items, because there are ways to authenticate pieces online, as well as the sustainability element to it. It's actually quite trendy to be buying vintage designer items, and you're also finding pieces that no one else has, which I think a lot of people are interested in. So definitely always make an offer first. In terms of how low I go, so for example, if there was a vintage designer handbag listed on eBay for $500, I would probably offer $350 and just see what they say. I mean, there is no harm in trying. They can just, if they're not interested, they can just decline the offer and I will try again. And if they decline the offer, well then I would offer $400, and it just depends on how badly I want the item and how long it's been listed for. If it's something that you have been on the hunt for ages, they've just listed it and you know that it's at a good price, then of course, you know, maybe jump on it. There have been times where I haven't even offered and I've just purchased the item, but that is because I am aware that it's a bargain already. But if the item has been listed for weeks, even months, then definitely just be patient, put an offer in. They'll probably get back to you within 24 hours and then go from there. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, I will always make an offer first, and 9 times out of 10 they will accept. So the next question is, have you made money on every bag you've sold, and how do you price them? I really struggle. So this can be quite a controversial topic. I feel as though whenever I talk about figures and money when it comes to handbags, that is when there can be a lot of differing opinions within the comments. So I'm going to keep this brief. I have made money on every single handbag that I have sold, and I'm not going to gatekeep that information because I'm worried about what people are going to say. I have been very open that buying and selling handbags has been a side hustle of mine for the past couple of years now, and I don't see an issue with it, because whenever I receive a bag, I do put a lot of time into not only finding the bag, but I then have it authenticated and I clean it up, and sometimes I restore it. So I will factor that into the price of the item as well. So that is one of the reasons why I also generally sell my bags offline, as in I sell them through Facebook groups. I sell them to complete strangers that I don't really know and who aren't part of my YouTube and Instagram community, because I just don't want to muddy the waters. I want to keep that separate. I want to share with you the item. I want to show you how beautiful the bag is and style it. But when it comes to money, I like to keep that, you know, separate. However, I did recently do my first ever vlog sale, and that is because it was so highly requested. I was really reluctant to do it. I have never had so many nerves about uploading a video in my life, and the next morning I was almost scared to open up my YouTube to see the comments, but you guys were so lovely about my vlog sale. A lot of positive comments. There were the odd negative comments, but the majority of people were really happy. But I'm kind of steering off topic there. So yes, I do make money from all the bags that I've sold. However, I don't go in, when I'm buying a bag, I don't always go in with that intention. I will always purchase bags that just jump out to me that I really love. And if I sell it for more than what I bought it for, that is a bonus. And it just depends on what the style is, how popular it is, how rare it is. And from what I have found, the rarer the piece, the easier it is to sell. And when it comes to pricing the item, I basically will search for the piece on Google or Vestiaire Collective, find the item or something similar, and just see what they're selling for. And I will always upload it for the lowest price. So if everyone else is selling them for around $800 to $1,000, like a particular bag, I will always want to be the person selling it for around $500, $600. So obviously it depends on how much I paid for the item and the condition and the rarity of the piece. There's a lot of variables when it comes to selling a piece, but I feel like I genuinely know what the worth of the bag is. So if I feel like, you know what, the condition isn't great, not a lot of people are particularly into this style, like there's not a lot of people interested, I will just sell it for quite cheap, maybe just a little bit more than what I bought it for. But if I feel like it's a really beautiful item, it's in amazing condition, and there's not a lot of them around, then I will price it according to that as well. So there are so many variables. If ever you need help pricing a piece, just shoot me a message on Instagram and I will try and help you out. But yeah, my general rule is that I'll always go cheaper than everyone else, because to me, selling the item and using that money to purchase something else is far more important than trying to get the best price. So the next question is, do you get your bags authenticated? And yes, every single bag I have received, like designer item, I will have authenticated. So even though some eBay stores and even Vestiaire Collective and stuff, they will have authentication services throughout, I will always have my bags authenticated, because I just do not want to be speaking about a bag, sharing a bag with you guys until it has been authenticated, which is why a lot of the times when I do unboxings, I'm actually kind of unboxing it for the second time. So I will always unbox the bag, have it authenticated, and then I'll do, you know, like an unboxing with you guys. It's like my worst nightmare to be sharing a bag with you guys and someone jumps in the comments and says that bag isn't authentic. So yeah, I always like to have them all authenticated. In terms of the services I use, I've used a few different ones. Some are more expensive than others. The one that I use most often is Bagaholic 101, because they have a very quick turnaround. They're very affordable. It's $5 US, and it is just an online authentication process, so I don't actually have to send the bag away. Now, there are mixed reviews about Bagaholic 101. I've always had a really good experience with them. They're very thorough, so that for me gives me a lot of confidence. There have been times where I have sent like 30 photos through of a bag, and they will still be like, you know what, you need to wait for the right lighting because I need these photos to be super clear. I can't authenticate it until I have all the information that I need. So I personally like Bagaholic 101. It's quite well known in the handbag community as well. And if someone is not satisfied, like if a buyer is not satisfied with the way that I have had an item authenticated, they can let me know and I am willing to use another service. However, 9 times out of 10, everyone's really happy, but I have a very close relationship when I sell the item because I want them to be happy with it. So can always discuss that with someone. But yes, I always have my bags authenticated. I feel like I can get very rambly in these questions. Now, the next question is, what damage on a handbag is a deal breaker for you? So in short, any damage that I don't feel confident that I can fix, I steer clear from. So I've done a whole video on this. I talk about the common types of damage or wear and tear that you see on vintage design handbags and which ones I find it easy to fix and which ones just to steer clear from. So I'll link that video below. But basically, if there is peeling on the interior of some bags, I feel like I can definitely fix that. It just depends what brand it is. With Gucci, I know that I'm able to fix it quite easily. When it comes to like cracking of leather and fading of color, I completely steer clear from it because I'm not confident in recoloring bags and leather repair. If it's just a little crack on a strap that I know I can replace the strap for, and I know you can buy replacement parts on Etsy quite easily, then I'll do that. So yeah, I'll leave a link to that video link below. But when it comes to smell, like strong smells, leather cracking, canvas cracking, discoloration of leather or fabric, they're the ones I kind of steer clear from. I just want something that I can clean, polish up, potentially change a strap, just really easy fixes. And I have realized, that is one of my realizations and what I've learned through my handbag journey, is some damage is just not worth it, and you're better off spending your money on just something that is a little better quality, because it's going to be easier to sell as well. Because the moment you like replace a strap with a non-authentic piece, that is going to cut out a lot of people who would potentially be willing to buy the item off you if you do decide to sell it. So all of those things you have to take into consideration. So the last question is, what bags are currently on your wish list? So I don't always have a lot of handbags on my wish list because I do shop vintage and pre-loved. I generally just know what I'm buying when I stumble across it. However, I am loving the Row Margot bag, and I know it's not vintage or anything, but all I'm saying is that bag I'm lusting over at the moment. I also really love the Totem T-Lock bag, and you're probably thinking none of these are vintage, and I think it's because this year I wanted to broaden my horizon a little bit, and I wanted to try some newer styles as well. Not always go pre-loved. I will always shop pre-loved, but not always vintage. So yeah, love the Totem T-Lock bag. Really love, and it's always held a special place in my heart, the Givenchy Antigona bag. Always love that. Always find myself searching for it and seeing if I can get it for a good price. I just think it's absolutely beautiful and timeless. So love that bag. And then as for vintage bags, I am just looking for slouchy shoulder bags. And then I'm also on the hunt for a really nice burgundy bag. So yeah, they're the main kind of styles and bags on my wish list at the moment. So now moving on to the main things that I've learnt over the years. So the first point I have here is designer isn't expensive. I always thought to have a wardrobe full of designer luxury pieces, I would have to work really, really hard, be so career driven, and be really rich to own that kind of stuff, or just have nothing in my bank account. However, I've realized that there is so much pre-loved designer on the market once you start looking. And I've actually been looking at more clothing pieces lately, like vintage designer, blazers, shoes. There is so much available, and it's getting me really, really excited because I love my vintage designer handbags. I do own a vintage YSL blazer, which is so beautiful. And I watched a video recently, it just popped up on my YouTube feed, about how vintage designer clothing, there are so many bargains available. They are so well made from beautiful fabrics, and you can always have the pieces altered. So yeah, I'm really loving that at the moment. And yeah, there are so many pieces that I've stumbled across and gone, oh my gosh, these are so affordable, especially shoes. Now it's hard to find vintage shoes that are in good condition and in your size, but I have, with all the slingbacks coming in, there are so many beautiful designer slingbacks, especially on Depop. I found a lot on Depop lately, and I'm hoping that I'm able to stumble across a vintage designer pair of heels for my wedding day. But yeah, back to my point, designer isn't always expensive, and I think that it is within everyone's price range as long as you're willing to be patient and also do the searching. And you will be able to find some really beautiful pieces. Depop is really great. I feel like people forget about it, but there are some really amazing pieces on Depop that I have stumbled across, and I feel like it's just a really easy platform to use. There are so many styles available. So when I first started looking at vintage designer pieces, I thought they were the standard kind of the Christian Dior saddlebag, the Prada nylon bag, the Louis Vuitton, you know, all your standard trending vintage designer bags that still hold their value really well because they were trending. But once I kind of started to browse, I realized I am still stumbling every single day across Gucci handbags and Celine handbags and Louis Vuitton handbags that I never even knew existed and I have never seen before. I actually have 3 handbags and 1 SLG on the way, and I cannot wait to show you. There is one in particular that I didn't even know existed, and I have yet to find it here on YouTube. I did a little bit of a search on YouTube to see if anyone had unboxed one or found it before, and I've never seen it before. Another thing I've learned is not all vintage bags are ugly. I used to sit there and think, okay, it's a vintage bag, but everyone knows it's vintage, they can clearly see it, and I'm gonna be able to style this up with new clothes and I'm gonna make it look cool. But I would have to try kind of hard. However, the more I've browsed, the more I've found bags that no one would even know that they're vintage because they're really timeless styles. So if you are interested in pre-loved designer items, but you're worried that they're gonna look really vintage, I am gonna put a few examples of bags that I have that, yeah, you just wouldn't even pick that they're vintage, and you're going to be able to wear them and have them forever, and they're super timeless. And the last key point that I've learned when it comes to buying pre-loved designer items is that patience is key, and buy what you love. So you have to be patient, you have to be willing to browse for quite a long time. And if you see a piece and it jumps at you and you think, oh my God, and I can't explain it, it's just a feeling that I get. I'll get this feeling of like, I love that, it is beautiful, I want that. They are the pieces I go for, and 9 times out of 10, you guys love them as well. So I feel like if you go for bags that you genuinely love and spark joy, you are going to love wearing it, you're going to love using it, and then if you ever do decide to sell it, I am almost certain that someone else is going to jump on that and love it as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it inspires you to shop pre-loved, and I hope you also got some really good, useful information out of it. If you have any more questions, please just leave them below. I'll be sure to answer them. And I guess I'll catch you all in my next video. I have so much content planned. I'm so excited. And yeah, just make sure you subscribe and you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And I'll catch you all in my next one. Bye guys.